What's up, everybody? It's your boy Jeremy, joined today by my co-host.
Thomas, what's up?
Yeah, and we also got a couple guests today on the first or possibly second episode of the podcast. Today we are joined also by,
I'm Melon.
good job, Melvin,
Thank
and
you, thank you.
Yeah, I'm chaotic.
but yeah, I did want to start off this episode. If you listen to the first episode, if that's still a thing, we left off without asking an important question. So I will re-ask the question. That way we can get somebody's answer, and there's somebody new this episode anyway, so we can get their take. But Thomas, what is your favorite Pokemon?
I'm so glad you remembered. It's been so long. Uh, my favorite Pokemon is Dragonite.
Okay,
Has been since the beginning.
solid. And I
And
think
then
the
my second
original
one would be
question
Blaziken.
was- Okay, that's solid. I couldn't remember. No, we did any Pokemon. I was going to say, I can't remember if we locked it to the first 151, but we definitely did.
We definitely went on a tangent about others,
Yeah,
We
because
did.
other
I think I'm
possible things.
pretty sure I brought up Toxicroak being my favorite, and he's like way past Gen 4.
You did.
I have no idea what the names of anything are past Gen 4. Or Gen 4 or beyond.
I showed you some of the black and white Pokemon the other day, and then you got upset when I showed you a literal ice cream cone, and you were like, that's not even a Pokemon.
That's stupid. That's why.
Wait, there's a Pokemon that's an
Really?
ice cream cone? Am I
No
that
way.
far behind the times?
Yeah, it's brother, that came out in like 2011.
Hold on, no way. I didn't even know this, and I feel like I
Yeah.
played like most of them, even
It's
some of the new ones.
I was a
vanilla.
senior in high school in 2011. Like, how would I know that?
Oh shit, it is Vanillite.
Vanillite, Vanillish, Vanillux. It literally just gets more scoops of ice cream the bigger it gets.
It really does. Here, let me drop it in.
There's also Garbodor, who's just a literal piece of trash.
Oh, like me. Hell yeah.
Yeah, he's literally a trash bag with eyes and
Hell
arms.
yeah.
How do
Although-
I fucking Discord? Let me see.
You
Oh,
mean
there it
posts
is.
in general? What do you mean?
Yeah, I don't know how Discord works sometimes. Yep,
Oh my
there it is.
God.
Literal
Let's
ice
go
cream.
up.
And I'll post these videos as well. I assume we'll eventually upload this to YouTube as well, and other places, or if we have any social medias or whatnot. You can check.
You've got to be kidding me.
What's up? Oh yeah. Literal ice cream.
FYI, the guy that designed that is now one of the like 3 lead directors of the Pokemon company. Of like each game that Game Freak makes, he's like one of the lead directors for art design.
Oh, so we're gonna expect this kind of originality?
We've been expecting this kind of originality for the last like 4 generations now.
You know what? I did stop playing. What was it? Sun and Moon. That's where I kind of. Well, no, I dropped off after Diamond and Pearl, and then I picked back up at Y. Didn't like that one too much. Didn't finish it.
Yeah, Gen 6 is kind of.
Tried to play Sun. Immediately hated it because they took away gyms, and then I played one with you a little bit. I think it was Sword.
Yeah, we played Sword and Shield a little bit.
Yeah,
That was the first Switch Pokemon.
Yeah, and then I started the newest one, and I got like an hour in, and then I haven't picked it back up.
That one's really tutorial heavy and kind of loses the charm of what Pokemon was, kind of being like an open world adventure with like.
Yeah, that's why I hated Sun and Moon too, because like
Super
I was
text
like
heavy.
5 hours in, and I wasn't
done with the
fucking
tutorial
off on my own. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
like,
the modern games are very handholdy because they don't want kids to get discouraged. Versus like the first 3 gens are like, all right, go do whatever you want.
yeah. Red was literally like, "Fuck off, kid. Go
Gen-
catch Pokemon or
Gen
something."
4 and 5 added more dialogue and more story and stuff, and that's kind of when it started doing that. And then the more kidified it got, and by Gen 6 it was like completely kidified. If you stopped playing Pokemon after Black and White, you honestly would be totally fine. I personally I like the Pokemon designs of of Sun and Moon. And I don't think the games are the best, but I think the Pokemon are really cool. And then Sword and Shield had some actually fun gameplay moments, but I think it was just because it was the first one on the Switch, it felt unique to me. And then I played a little bit of Scarlet and Violet, and I never finished it. And content doing so.
What about you, Chaotic?
Honestly, I would have to go back to the original 151. Snorlax was probably my favorite Pokemon. I just
Okay.
relate to
So-
him. I'm fat.
Oh my god.
I have always loved Lapras. Lapras was like my OG favorite.
If you can relate to being Snorlax by being fat, would you relate to him by also being able to eat anything?
Almost. I do draw a line at some things.
If we're going by that logic, my favorite should have been Slack Off.
Slack off.
Yes.
Isn't that most adults nowadays, though? Like, slack off would definitely be what we want to do.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, but I definitely wanted to start with that question because I know we missed you last time and I felt really bad about that. So I'm glad we covered it.
That's a good question to circle back to last time and get it to all come together.
Yeah, so I guess I will definitely have to post the other one. So if you made it through that first episode, good job because the sound was real rough on that.
Even with the audacity, it was pretty rough.
Yeah, it was rough. You could tell that was a first episode for sure. But we're back. We found a new way to do it, hopefully better. We'll see. We're going to be more consistent this time. I know it was mostly my fault. But if this is your first episode tuning in, it's just a bunch of buds hanging out. We're just going to be talking about random shit. Mostly gaming and, maybe movie centric, with a little bit of conspiracies in there.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of Chaotic, I know we were giving you a little tease about the Mandela effect, and you said you haven't heard of that. You're familiar with
Not-
Melon, right? I feel like we've.
Not that I haven't heard of it, it's just I don't know much about it. I've heard the term used before. I'm just kind of fuzzy.
Melon, are you familiar with the Mandela effect?
Yeah,
I
it's
feel
just
like we had to have beaten that into you. At this
people just misremembering stuff. It's like the
Mm,
gist of it, right?
yeah, I mean, if you
Triggering
want to
me.
be on the wrong side, yeah, that's fine.
Oh yeah.
I'm very
Just call
triggered
him
right
out.
now.
Okay. Okay. So what I'm gonna do, I slightly prepared for this. I'm gonna give you some examples. I just want you to tell me what you remember. So we'll use chaotic for this test since Melon's a non-believer.
Wow.
Which one of these is correct? And you can
Okay.
check general chat.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just say left or right.
Since we're
Left.
talking about Pokemon, I thought we'd
I would
start
have
with
to say left.
left. Thank you. That is how most people remember Pikachu. I remember having a black little part on its tail. Nope. It actually does not. It's the one on the right, which is bullshit. I specifically remember him having.
Okay, you're gonna have to pull up one of the original, like, first edition cards because I'm pretty sure he had a black tip tail.
Yeah, let me see. Let me see what I can find.
He's really
I'm-
fat. He's really fat and chubby in the first edition cards. Yeah, that's it.
Yep, see
Oh,
it
wow.
changed.
I have that card. I have like 3 of those.
Mhm.
It's
Right,
it's brown at the base, but I think a lot of people misremember the tail specifically because Pichu has a black stripe in their tail, and Pichu's the pre-evolution. I think a lot of people just like homogenize them in their head. When I
Yeah,
think
but see,
when
I never played after
when I
first
think
gen.
when I think of Pikachu, I actually think of Plusle and Minun first, like because I had a poster on my wall when I was a kid. I got like a Pokemon, like I think it was like a Pokedex book or something from like the library when we did like a book fair. And I didn't even watch Pokemon or play Pokemon, but I thought some of the designs were cool, and I got this little book just to read. And there was a poster like that had all the like Gen 1 through 3 because it was like 2005. Gen 3 was like the newest one at the time. It had all the Gen 1 through 3 Pokemon, and it listed them by like type. And on the
Okay.
electric type, the first 3 were like Pikachu, Minun, Plusle, and Pichu. And I think of like Plusle and Minun because they're like the Pika clones, like the first Pika clones, kind of. I think of them more than I do Pikachu, and I think of like that whole line. So I think a lot of people just misremember like Pichu and stuff because Pichu was used a lot around like the Gen 2 marketing and stuff. Like, oh look, it's baby Pikachu. They really tried to capitalize on that with the baby Pokemon and the breeding mechanic. They also really tried to lean into like female marketing because before they had like a couple pink Pokemon was like, look, you've got like Jigglypuff and like Clefairy and Mew. Those are like the 3 pink Pokemon, and like, look, they're for girls. And then Gen 2 was like, we've got breeding now. You can be like a breeder, and you can have all these like baby Pokemon, and it kind of like paved that into it. I think that's like part of the Mandela effect there.
Well, the whole reason the baby Pokemon came along was Togepi, honestly. Like if you actually stick to like the show, Togepi was the first baby that you actually ever really saw.
Yeah, because
That was legit baby.
they wanted to introduce the egg, and then the egg. They wanted to do breeding in Gen 1. They just didn't have the ability to. They were crunched on time, and they didn't have enough time to work out the mechanics. They wanted to do held items and stuff. Like that's why like some Pokemon already held stuff. Like Marowak has like the club.
Yeah.
Like the Farfetch'd has the leak. Like there were a lot of things that they wanted to do that they never got a chance to.
Okay, so here we go.
So I just Googled because I was going to correct you. And I never realized that is his name, Minun. I
Yeah.
could have sworn it was Minum. Plusle and Minum. But it is Minun.
Yeah.
I was today years old. Also, used to pronounce Rattata wrong. I used to pronounce it Ratatata.
Oh, you added like an extra A to it.
Yeah, like an extra TA, I think.
I've heard people say Ratata instead of Ratata.
Yeah, I would say Ratatata.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's just Rattata.
Just calls her a rat.
Butchered that. Fucking rat Pokemon. Anyways, I do have
The
a
first area, that's
little
all you hit. It's like
example.
another, goddamn, it's another fucking rat. Try to run away from it, and sometimes you can't. Hold you hostage. Fucking rat.
All right, we'll go next with one of my favorite examples. Let me find one that doesn't give it away. Here's one. All right, so you're probably more familiar with this too, possibly. Do you know what this family is known as?
Yeah, it's the Berenstein Bears.
One more time?
The Berenstein Bears.
Yeah, you would think. This is what it actually is according to this universe.
The Berenstain Bears.
Yeah. Most people remember Berenstein Bears. This is the most fought about Mandela effect. Most
I don't
people
remember.
think it's Berenstein Bears, but according to this universe, it's the Berenstain Bears.
I never watched this one super a ton as a kid. I saw it like bits and pieces, but to be honest, I read the books more, and I don't really remember what the books were.
I don't think I ever
Uh,
watched the show or read the books. I remember my sister had this game on Sega Game Gear, and I played it.
Yeah, we had the books. We had like a couple of them. They were like on the same shelf with like the Dr. Seuss books and like a lot of the other
So
ones.
hold on just a second. So what was just posted? The authors' names were Berenstein, but it
It's
was
a joke.
Berenstain. Oh, it's a joke. I was about to say,
a
hold on.
joke. This is real though. This is a picture of a tape that somebody found where it's spelt the way that we remember versus the way it's claimed to be spelt. Those are VHS tapes.
mhm.
I'm the oldest one in the chat right now. I remember VHS tapes.
Yeah, no, I do too. It's just I
Are
didn't know
are
the
you
context of the.
are you explaining this to people that might not know what VHS tapes are?
I mean, you're the only one who might not know what they are.
No, dude, I grew up watching VHS too. That was still a like if you went over to somebody's house and they had like a wall full of VHS tapes, you had a good time, dude. You could go and pick out whatever you wanted to watch.
Anybody else have the like the Disney VHS?
The really
Oh
bulky,
God, yes,
The really bulky ones
that
are
you
like
yes.
had
a book.
that you had to open up. Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah. I had a
I think
wall full of those, dude.
all the way up until the late 90s, I think we had every VHS that was released for a Disney movie.
almost all of mine had dents in them, because they would
The
like really,
cases all did have dents in them,
yeah,
yes.
they all had like really cheap plastic. They would always fucking dent.
As a matter of fact, I think I don't know if we still have it in storage somewhere, but we had one of the original artwork Little Mermaid VHSs that
Yeah.
caught a lot of backlash and got in hot water because apparently there was a phallic showing in
Oh,
one of
yeah.
the
Yeah, it's one
pillars.
of the castles in the background underwater. Hold on, I got you.
That was literally just like a bunch of PTA moms got together and were like, "We don't like the way this castle looks."
It was
Oh, that's the penis one. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, that's it. The main fire.
Jesus Christ.
All right, so we'll do one more.
Just to make me feel bad because apparently I remember everything certain ways and I'm totally wrong about everything.
No. You're good. You're from the right universe.
I'm messing.
You're from the right universe because we remember it all the same way. So, for this last one, I just want you to describe for me the Fruit of the Loom logo.
It's a cornucopia of fruit coming out of a shell.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I remember.
Okay. So you would say it would be something like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I remember too.
Yeah, and the commercials always had like grapes and different kinds of fruit, like doing things.
Mm-hmm. This is the actual logo.
No, bullshit.
There was definitely a cornucopia there. Like
There was definitely
100%.
I might still have a pair somewhere that has the cornucopia on it. I'm telling you.
Yep, 100% remember the cornucopia.
There.
It used to be there. They may have rebranded it to simplify it, like just to like be more aesthetic or something. But like it definitely used to be there. I
Thank you
remember
for that
because
picture, Tom.
I remember because like I was confused at what that was, and like my kindergarten teacher like explained to me what a cornucopia was, and I had no idea what she was talking about.
Absolutely. It was there. 100%.
It was there. It was there. You're right. They're doctoring our memories.
That is one of the big conspiracies is that the government like changed a bunch of stuff and are
Just to try to say
erasing
that
stuff.
certain generations are completely wrong. Yeah. Okay.
And then of course the other popular one is that I think it's typically associated with the CERN Hadron Collider. They say, when they're doing shit over there, they somehow transferred us to like an alternate dimension.
So they're messing with the timeline by
Yeah.
colliding particles. Is what you're telling me?
Yeah, they're like real life TVA in it.
So the world I was born into is no longer the world I exist in. Type shit.
Correct. The old one died.
That is crazy.
Yeah, the old world had movies like Rockstar, and now we don't have those kind of movies.
We used to have movies of what's his face? Mark Wahlberg getting his nipples rubbed with ice.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was a brief overview of the Mandela effect. But now you're aware. So that is one of our favorite conspiracy things we go back and forth on.
This right here could be an entire podcast. Like we could go hours on this.
Oh,
Well,
100%.
there's way more Mandela effects than just those three. Like,
Oh, yeah. There's just on that page I was looking at, there was 50 examples. I just kind of chose a few of the most popular.
Most relevant, yeah.
Yeah, we can definitely eventually have like a full episode dedicated to that if that's something people want to hear about. But that is by far one of our favorites that me and Thomas had talked about for years. But yeah, I was looking at my notes because we originally did the first episode probably 10 months ago at this point.
Was it really that long ago? It doesn't feel that long ago.
It was probably like a month or two before my wedding. And so
That's right. It was before your wedding.
Yep.
No way, dude. Your wedding.
We're
You've almost
almost
been
at a
married a
whole-
year.
Yeah.
You're almost at your first anniversary. That's crazy.
I need to start planning for
Yeah.
my first anniversary.
It's almost like Melon's more excited about it than you are, man. Come on.
No, I am super excited. It's
Melon has time blindness, so a lot of things are amazing to him.
Yeah, that is a true fact about my character. I do not understand the concept of time. Things just happen, and I'm just left
There's
with
the
my
reason
jaw.
why we get on
agape.
Siege one day and end up playing it into the next all the time.
Yeah.
yeah. Speaking of games, I do have on here a couple games that I was planning on talking about. One of them being Baldur's Gate 3. So that came out, and that was an amazing game. Everyone loved it. We started a campaign, and we need to finish that too, Thomas.
Is it the
Not
game
even
where you
close
can like?
to being past like the beginning. We're
Is that-
still in
is-
very much the beginning of the game.
Is it the one where you can like romance a bear?
Probably, yeah. I know you can do one of the illithids, the squid-looking people,
Bro.
and all kinds of stuff. It's basically D&D, but in video game form. But that did very well. I also have Starfield. I wanted to talk about that apparently. That came out. It was a pretty good game. I didn't play it a lot at first, but here recently, the past few months, I've been getting into that, and I was actually playing it right before we recorded this episode.
Yeah, it's not bad.
So if
And
I
I
remember
saw the
correctly,
DLC coming
Starfield
soon.
is like an open universe, build your ship, you can bounce back and forth between the different planets and stuff, right?
Yeah, pretty much. It's basically like if you took Skyrim and put it in space,
Okay.
or Fallout, or other Bethesda games.
Literally any Bethesda title you've played before, but in space.
I'd say it's closer to Fallout, but not post-apocalyptic.
It's basically Fallout, but more futuristic, and
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
the nukes didn't go off.
In space.
Speaking of Fallout, I also have on my list. I'm just going to try and clear through some of these items. I was really excited for the Magic the Gathering and Fallout crossover, which that came out and was amazing. I know you guys, most of you guys aren't really into Magic, but
Hey, I am.
you are. But it was a amazing little mini set. Along with they also did here more recently, Assassin's Creed crossover, and that set did not do as great. But if you were into Assassin's Creed and all that, most of us enjoyed it. Which
I'm really looking forward to that new game. The Japanese setting one looks really cool.
oh yeah, Assassin's Creed Shadows. It looks pretty.
I don't even know what it's called. I just know it's the one where you swap between the ninja, who's like the more traditional, like stealthy Assassin's Creed like assassin protagonist, and then you've got the samurai as just like a pure strength build that looks really cool. That's all I know about it. And I've never played an Assassin's Creed before, but that one looked really cool. Thomas
You
has
guys
been
are making
telling
me feel bad, man. I feel like I'm way behind the video game times or just game times in general.
What, have you not seen any trailers for it?
I don't get a chance to watch a lot of TV, not to mention I dropped regular TV and I'm all streaming now. So
I mean,
That's fine.
I've only ever just seen like YouTube ads for it. I don't really watch TV. I watch like a Netflix show like every other month or something. I rarely watch TV. I'll watch like a YouTube video like every other night kind of stuff, but I've just gotten ads for it. Probably because I play Ubisoft games, but it's actually
I'm
probably
thinking it's
that's
more for
definitely
me.
why.
It's more the fact that I'm kind of stuck in certain games and I don't break away from them. Like I've played World of Warcraft since 2008, and I'm still playing it. Like I literally just signed out.
Fair
Yeah.
though. If it's not really
It's not a
your
bad thing though. I mean, I
one
wish
of
I
the
could
games
stick
you've been playing.
like that. I get bored of stuff like really fast, so I have to like move back and forth between games. I don't know
Oh,
why.
trust me, I jump back. Like it's a love-hate relationship I have with World of Warcraft in general. I will go from playing as many days as I possibly can to not touch it for 3 years and then pick it back up. And literally, it's like, okay, this is where I'm going. This is what I'm supposed to do because the game mechanics never change. It's always the same. It's just they add new story, new quests, new abilities, and then you just have to kind of adjust your playstyle to it. So it's something that you never really lose if you have any kind of affinity for the game.
No, the way that the industry is going right now is their game comes out, you play it until the devs fuck it up, and then you resent it and don't play it again, and you move on to the next one and do the same thing. That's just the way the
Tarkov.
games have been. Yeah. I don't know why that's the way that games have to be now. I wish that these games could be built to last, like a lot of the ones that I go back to, but it doesn't make any sense. I don't know.
A
No,
product
I
that makes
absolutely
sense.
have to agree with you on that. I don't know how many of you in here played Destiny.
Yeah.
Destiny 1, start to finish, absolutely amazing. Storyline, concept, gameplay itself, mechanics, just almost flawless. As soon as Destiny 2 released, they screwed the pooch. 100%. And anybody out there that wants to disagree with me, sorry, you can suck it.
I don't disagree.
How
Destiny
did
2 was
how did
definitely weaker than the first one.
how did
I stuck with Destiny 2 for like a solid 2 years. I was playing it like every day. I even went and toured Bungie when I lived up in Washington State, and it had a grasp on my life that I wish I never had. So I kind of resent it at the same time. I look fondly back at like the good times of the game, but at the same time, they fucked that game up. I agree.
They did.
Absolutely. Now I will say, to me, at least the base Destiny original storyline was ass. But that was mainly because they showed us one thing and then just clearly took everything that was originally going to be the story and changed it all. Like if you watch like the original reveal trailer for Destiny, the story was going to be way different, and then it's like they scrapped it halfway through. And I was really excited for it. They had like a bunch of different factions, and then they just broke it down to 3 factions, and I could go on about that. But as far as like actual gameplay, they fucking nailed it. Like that is such a fun game, just like in playstyle. Like I could just sit there for hours and just fucking shoot shit.
just going into the dungeons and playing
Yeah,
for like 3
raid,
hours in one raid
strike,
or something?
dude. I used to do strikes for hours and hours and hours just because they were fun.
Dude, Vault of Glass will be in my memories the same way that playing Halo 1 for the first time will
Oh
be.
no. Crota's End.
That
Oh,
one's good
yeah,
too.
that
I
one-
agree.
That
I
one
just say
right
that one
there,
because it was the first one.
Jeremy. If you remember, that was our first Destiny raid when we were
It
playing,
was.
and
It
it was
was. It was a solid raid too.
a 3.5 hour long.
It was a fucking adventure.
Or finding your way through the dark and not pissing off the ones you had to sneak around in that like second or third part. I can't remember. Oh my god, I hated
Are
that
you
shit
talking
so
about the Gorgons? Are you talking about in Vault?
So like when you first get down to the bottom, you have to like sneak through to a certain
Oh
Yeah, the
no,
Gorgons.
yeah,
The
I know what you're talking
Gorgons in Vault of Glass,
Yep.
yes.
Oh,
But they could be killed.
yeah.
100% they could be killed. You just
We didn't find
literally
that out
had
until
to.
later, but yeah.
Yeah, no, the group
You
I
needed a
started playing with.
galley.
Well, no. Actually, believe it or not, Wardcliffe Coil was the weapon of choice. That or Destiny 2. Not so much Destiny 1, but Destiny 2. It was Wardcliffe Coil and any sword, preferably like Lament or something that did a lot of stack damage,
Mhm.
would just melt them down, especially if you had all 6 people just jumping on a Gorgon at the same time. And believe it or not, there was an actual achievement to kill a Gorgon in Vault of Glass.
Oh damn,
I
So
need to check and see if I have that. I don't remember.
I did too. I don't know. I feel like I probably do because I played the fuck out of the first one. The only part I dropped off on a little bit was like the very end. That weird. What was the last raid they added?
For what,
uh,
Destiny 1?
Yeah,
it
it
was
was
Wrath
like
of the Machine.
yeah. So I played it a little bit because I remember trying to beat it with you, and we always get to the end. At least the times I played, and it'd fall apart. So I don't
Well, that
think
was
I
because of the
ever
team we were
beat it.
running with. You had one guy that was completely clueless and only used certain weapons, and the other guy that wanted to take charge that was too impatient to use the mechanics the way they were designed to be. Now, I will say this 100%. Wrath of the Machine was probably my favorite raid from Destiny 1, but it was the most mechanically heavy. Like, if you weren't on point with every movement that you were making and working in tandem, because you would have to, especially the final 2 boss stages, you had to work in tandem with one other player. So you had 3 teams of 2 running around the map, beating off of each other. You weren't going to beat it. There was just no physical way to beat it. Like these guys that were 2-manning the final boss, both stages, it was absolutely ridiculous.
It was a
What was
fun game.
the
I didn't spend a lot of time in it.
so there's like a special rocket launcher that you got with that raid?
There were a lot of special weapons that dropped out of that. You had Genesis Chain was the assault rifle, and if you had the Adept version, which you got from doing it on 390 Light, you had a slower fire rate, but the rounds were almost explosive, so they would do a lot of splash damage to everything around it. Sniper rifle was Ex Machina. That you could get it in 2 different ways. You could get it with Clown cartridge, which meant if you nailed a critical and then reloaded, it would reload an extra round into the mag for you. Or you could get it with shoot to loot, which was nice, especially in some of the long range encounters where you're running out of special ammo or heavy ammo. You could just shoot it and grab it.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
I don't
so
even remember all that shit. Jesus Christ.
I can't remember the name of the rocket launcher, but there was a rocket launcher that dropped in it as well. But it wasn't as popular.
Oh, okay.
As
I'm
well,
thinking of another one.
they had 3 different versions of the shotgun because you had your 3 different classes of energy. So you had arc, void, and solar, and they were called quantaplasm, I believe. Those were heavy hitters. Like no one ever used it in PvP just because they were so slow, but for PvE stuff, partially unmatched if you had to run a shotgun for something.
I'm trying to look up the weapons right now. There's one that I specifically remember. I can't.
Yeah,
Maybe
sorry,
it
I was
was.
looking through my achievements to see if I got that.
I
I
think
don't
it's the
see the
scout
achievement.
rifle that I liked a lot. The Fang of Ur-Yut has a frost buff on it. That one seems familiar.
See here.
And that one.
I remember that gun.
I remember this gun. Yes. There was actually a better one than this. I'm looking for it right now.
From the same raid?
I don't think it was from the same raid. Give me just a second. Necrochasm. It was an exotic scout rifle.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah.
When you see it, you're gonna be like, "Oh, I remember this. I remember this gun 100%."
Y'all remember Loot Cave?
Yeah.
Ah, yes.
Oh yeah. Loot Cave was the shit. Sitting at a cave, shooting it for like 3 hours straight, trying to get some
Anybody else remember how
legendary and
OP
exotic
the
and-
Vex gun was? The Vex Mythoclast?
Oh yeah. Let's see.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Oh yeah. That one shot like crazy amounts of ammo, didn't it?
Fast. It was very fast firing, and you never had to reload as long as you were landing critical shots.
Hell yeah.
So this one, that scout rifle was key for King's Fall. Like if you didn't have that, you couldn't even get into a group that was running King's Fall. Like it was a mandatory weapon.
Well, I know what you're talking about. I remember that shit.
You know, I don't think I beat that raid either. I feel like I've gotten to the end and then it just didn't work out as well on that one, on both of those.
I
Yeah.
love Jude so much
Or
in those
no.
days.
So you had that one. Actually, I don't think that was the right one. I think I gave you the wrong one. There was
You didn't experience Destiny, did you, Melon?
No, I didn't have a
Did you?
PC or a non-Nintendo console at the time.
That's
I'm,
right.
I'm pretty sure I just had like my 3DS and my Wii at that time.
Is Destiny 1 like still up and running?
it's still active. You can still get on the servers and play it.
Did they do anything to screw up Destiny 1 after Destiny 2 came out? Did they alter anything, or were there still updates for it for a while, or when did they cut off support for it?
To be honest with you, I'm not sure. It's been so long since I've tried to load it.
I
I don't know if
wonder if it's still up.
well, no, I know it's still up because
Mm-hmm.
we actually had discussed in the clan that we were going to go back and do Crota's End and stuff like that because they hadn't brought it back to Destiny 2 yet. I think it's back now in Destiny 2, so you can actually play it live in current content. But I'm so far behind the curve at this point in Destiny 2, I'm not even going to try.
I heard Destiny 2 is just like credit card simulator, the game.
Pretty much. So the way Destiny 2 works now is in order for you to even play the campaign for the given season or the given expansion, you have to buy the season passes. So you're forced to spend at least $10 every time a new season comes out because you have to have access to the content. Like you can play the first 2 or 3 missions of the quote unquote campaign, and then it says, "Oh, you don't have the season pass. You can't go any further without it." And if you want to buy it, I believe it's 900 silver, which I think you get 1,000 silver for $10. So it's either pay the $10 to be able to access it, or buy, for lack of a better term, like a battle pass, a season pass, where it gives you 4 seasons. But I haven't even seen one of those offered in a long time, and that's where my hate relationship with Destiny has gone to. It's like I don't need another pay to play game.
Yeah, that's fair.
What is your other pay to play game? Warcraft?
Warcraft would be definitely my pay to play. Like I'm already subscribe to that, so money comes out of my bank account every month for it. But it's something that I'm heavily involved in right now with the new expansion about to release in a few days. Plus, I really got into the story of Dragonflight, which is actually really good. So it's the only thing I have bad to say about WoW are the changes that they made. I believe it was post Cataclysm. Like everything after Cataclysm got to the point where they've made it so new player friendly, it's unreal. Like I remember the struggle playing the game when it first came out. You didn't have little hint markers and stuff like that to show you where to go to on the maps. Like you literally had to read your quest and it was like, okay, you need to go northeast of this village or this, point of interest and you should find what you should be looking for. But even then, they weren't highlighted or anything like that. Now everything's highlighted. Areas are shaded in blue on the map. Be like, hey, you need to be in this general area. You'll find what you're looking for. Or it's like shimmering off in the corner somewhere. All of your NPC enemies that you have to kill, like if you need so many to kill, they're all like have this highlighted border around them, so you know exactly who you need to kill. It's like, okay, yeah, you just made it stupidly easy for anybody to play this game.
Yeah, you know what? I was gonna say because I tried to play WoW years and years ago for the first time, and I was like, I felt like the quests were so much harder for me to navigate because I had to actually like read it and look for everything, and now I can almost mindlessly do it because it's like, oh, I have even if it's not like my active quest, it does put that like highlighted box, and I'm like, oh, something I need to do is in this area, so I just fucking piss around in that area and eventually find whatever mob I got to kill or little item I have to click on. But it is very new people friendly for sure.
Yeah, I think the devs at that point, they were looking at a way to entice more people, and not just more people, but a younger crowd. Because if you went back to original vanilla WoW when I started playing, because I started playing in Burning Crusade, which would have been the first expansion of the game, everything was so in depth of you had to use any and every skill that you knew as a gamer to figure out, that you would literally beat your head against the wall because you would track it on the map so far and you're like, okay, I should be in the right area, but where is it? I can't find it. And then it's like, out of pure luck, you might run across, it's like, oh, so this is what it looks like, this is what I'm supposed to be collecting. And it if you couldn't find it on Wowpedia or some of the other fan based or player based help sites, Wowhead is another one, you were just SOL at that point.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to the Pokemon thing where everything's more hand-holdy now.
Yes, it's very much hand-holdy at this point. That's the other scout. This is actually the scout rifle that I was thinking of. It's called Touch of Malice.
I
Oh, that
remember
one's
that one.
sick.
I never had it, but I remember it for sure.
I never obtained it, and I was like, I want this gun so bad. Could never get my hands on it. Like every time it came around that I could, I'd miss it for some god unknown reason.
Yeah, I'm speaking of old WoW, it made me think of, you remember like games with like a shit ton of discs and you used to have to like switch them out?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let's go back to probably every gamer's favorite game if they played it. Final Fantasy VII. That was 3 discs long.
Oh.
You get so far, and it would literally tell you, okay, insert disc 2.
How did it track your progress and things like that between discs?
So the way it tracked progress was you got to a certain point, and it would tell you that you needed to switch discs, but you had a save point. So it would allow you to save, and then it would tell you to put in the next disc, and then you would just load the next disc and go from there. So your memory having a memory card that wasn't corrupted was paramount for Final Fantasy VII.
Was that on the PS1?
That was PlayStation 1.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they had multi-disc games all the way up to, I'd say, the 360. I know you didn't really play it too much, Melon, but like, for example, I want to say, I know Mass Effect was multiple discs.
Mass Effect was, but
Mhm.
that was literally only because every decision you made from Mass Effect 1 to endgame Mass Effect 3 affected the outcome of your game.
Mm-hmm.
So you literally would like want to have multiple save files for that game on your console or on your PC to be able to load back in and change the decision that you made to change the outcome of what happened. Because you might end up realizing it's like, shit, this decision I made just screwed my end game completely. But you have to go back to the end of disc one or the end of game one and rechange out a decision.
I know the
Yeah.
GameCube had a couple games that were multiple discs, but
Just want to note that if you had the collector's edition for LA Noire, it was 4 discs.
It was, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
And then some games would do like a single player disc, and then if it had like if it was also a multiplayer game, their multiplayer disc would be separate as well.
I
Pretty
do
sure Dead
remember that.
Space 2 and
Yeah.
3 were 2 discs as well.
I never played Dead Space, so I'm not sure.
the new one looks
Uh,
pretty good.
They were pretty solid. I played the first two. I probably should have played the third, but I think it was not out yet when I played the first two, and then I just never got around to picking up the third.
So you guys have seen, like, I guess you could call it the new Dead Space, right?
The remake?
Yeah,
Came
yeah,
out
yeah.
came out a couple years ago. I think it's like the Calypso project or
Oh, yeah. That too.
yeah. Unless I'm mistaken, it's made by the same people that made Dead Space, and it 100% has that original feel. Because I went back and actually
Oh, you're
looked
talking
at
about a different
gameplay.
game. They actually
It's a
did
totally
remake
different.
the first one that came out a couple years ago. Dead
Yeah,
Space.
they did.
Oh,
I think
no
it was
kidding.
around the same time. Yeah, they did the Calypso protocol or
Yes.
project
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever, and then like maybe like 6 months to a year later, they actually. I think it's not a full remaster. I think they
It's a
actually
remake.
made it slightly, actual
They
remake.
added
And they
new
changed
gameplay
some stuff,
mechanics to it, so it's technically a remake.
but that was a solid game.
Yeah.
What I played of it, at least, the first two, basically. I guess so. We're not all game heavy this episode. I do have a back. This was 2 jobs ago. I've changed jobs. Wait, hold on. I've changed jobs 3 times now since this story. But I was working as an optician, and I had a patient steal a frame, and I caught them. So the office I was working in was it was like 2 different offices. It was one side was like optical, like eye related, and then the other side was like a physical therapy type office or pain management type office. And I had one of the patients, they were on the pain management side, come in just browsing at frames, which is common. They're waiting for their appointment. Sometimes people will come over and just kind of look at frames and stuff. And this guy just seemed a little shifty. And I was like, you know what? I got stuff to do. I'm not even gonna worry about it. I'll just kind of keep an eye on him. And so he was like looking at our Costa frames because we had a big display and we left everything unlocked, which was probably a bad idea.
That's one of the more
It costs
expensive brands, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. They are very expensive frames, especially because Costa doesn't let you discount their frames as well.
So they're always
Costa,
sticker price.
yes,
Always.
Costa and Maui gyms are.
Yeah, Maui gyms are really nice too.
Whatever they say their price is, you better not change it, or else they'll take your account away. But we had a guy kind of looking at it, and I was like, kind of looking at him, but I was also in the middle of doing some other parts of my job with like filing insurance and stuff. And he made like a noise, like it sounded like he dropped some of the glasses, and I was like, okay, that's put that back because I don't feel like cleaning that up. I'm already working on stuff. And then I hear him say like, oh shit, and then he's like, I can hear him putting frames back on, and then he closes the case, and then he like walks past me real quick, and then goes like into our little front area, and I was like, okay, well, he put it back. I don't have to worry about it, and now he's out of my hair. I don't have to focus on him. I can do what I'm doing. Then I hear the door open, and I can see like part from where I'm at. I can kind of see like the door, and I can kind of see like when somebody comes out the door and goes down like the little ramp. Not really ramp, but the steps right there. And I saw he came out and then he went to his truck. I was like, that's a little weird. So I was like, well, let me get up and just take a look at things. And so I went over there, and with the Costas, because well, really with any frames, we keep like a back stock or understock where once we sell a frame, we can put more up. So I know usually after we sell a frame, we automatically go ahead and grab something from the understock. That way, the board is always full at all times, and people have selections. And I looked in that Costa case, and I was like, "Oh, one's missing. That's weird because I know this was full because we really don't do a whole lot of Costa sales just because they are like the set prices, and a lot of times Costa wants you to use their lab and their lenses, and it's like a whole special process." Um,
Oh, so you can't even like modify a prescription or anything like in house. You have to
um,
send it to Costa.
You can, but like you have to like Costa has their own specific products that you have to use and
Proprietary stuff.
coatings.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can't really you can, but it's like a whole pain in the ass to be able to use like a different type and Costa it's basically you use their stuff or you don't really sell Costa. Um is really how they make it set up. And so I was like, that's weird because I know we haven't sold any Costas lately. So I feel like something's up because I heard that noise. There's a Costa frame missing, or I feel like is missing, and he just went outside. That was kind of sketch, and then came right back in. And he had just got called back for his appointment. So I'm like, you know what? One of my coworkers had just got back from lunch, so I was like, hey, you mind just keeping an eye out? I'm just gonna go check something. So I went upstairs to our HR lady because we have cameras set up in the office because it's a private practice and they, want to make sure stuff like this don't happen. So I was like, hey, so and so is like, I don't want to accuse anybody of taking anything, but do you mind just pulling up the cameras and just taking a peek? Because I feel like that case was full and there was somebody kind of looking at frames, and I just feel like something's missing. Oh no, I'm sorry. This is from this story is like a year old, or like right around when we recorded the last one. I'm sorry. There was everything was in the Costa frame. There was no empty spots. No. Oh my god, I'm completely telling this wrong. There was.
Was
I
there
didn't.
something that wasn't
I
Costa
didn't.
that he had put back? Like to
Yes.
so he put
So
like a fake pair, like just like a shitty pair in there to
that's
replace
what
the
tipped
guy.
me off. Sorry, this is so long ago. It slipped my mind. That's what tipped me off. So he went outside and then he came back in before I went upstairs and started talking to the HR lady. Um, he came back in one more time and he was looking at, we had sunglass frames on like the back wall as well. And so he was looking at that and I was like, okay, he's just looking at frames again. And then he went back over to the Costa frame. And then I heard him open it back up and close it. And then he went back to the one area. So I'm sorry. I'm fixing it. And the sunglass frames were more so directly in my line of sight because there was kind of like a wall blocking me, or like a pillar blocking me and the actual sun Costa display. But there was a kind of like a pillar blocking it. And so he went over there to the Costa because I heard the display reopen because it like makes a little clicking sound when it opens and closes.
A very distinct noise, yeah.
Yep. And then very quickly it closed back again, and then he walked out again. And then he got called back to his appointment. And then that's when I walked over. There wasn't an opening on the Costa display. It was full, but there was an opening on the sunglass display that was more in my line of sight. And I was like, oh, that's weird because I thought that was full because that was one I see quite frequently because it's like kind of diagonal to my desk. So it was kind of in my line of sight there. And so when I was looking at the Costa display, I opened it and spun around and I saw there was a non-Costa frame in there. And I said, no, this pair was definitely on the back wall. So that's when I went up stairs and I was like, hey, I don't want to accuse anybody, but there was a Costa pair missing and a regular sunglass pair in its place. So do you mind just checking out the cameras? And so it took her a minute to pull up the cameras and everything. And sure enough, we saw where he was over there and he took a Costa pair out and slipped it in his pocket. And then he closed it That's when he knocked stuff down when he was taking it out, and then he fixed it, had one in his pocket, and then closed it, and then he walked out, and then he walked outside to his car. Then he came back in, grabbed a pair off the back wall, and then put it in the display. And so I was like, okay, so my suspicion was right. And she's like, well, you did a good job. So let's go downstairs and get him because he was in seeing the doctor. And he had just walked out a little bit before, and he was already gone.
That's crazy that you would steal something when you're there for like a official appointment like
Absolutely. Not only that, he was there on the pain management side, and most of those people they see regularly because they're dealing with chronic pain.
that. Yeah,
Um,
that's somebody you know that's gonna come back at some point.
absolutely. They have like monthly appointments for that kind of side. So we tell both the doctors that are in charge of the practice. And so they call the patient back saying, oh, we forgot to go over something with you. Until the patient comes back. And then they take him into the room and basically say, hey, we know you took something. We'll give you the opportunity to give us the frame back. And we'll just forget this happened. And he's like, I don't got that frame. And I guess they emptied out their pockets or whatnot.
I mean, he went back to the truck, like, and
Yeah, he clearly put it in the truck. That way he
Yeah.
could deny it. But they said, look, we have you on camera. We know you did it. So you can either pay for it or give it back, or we're basically going to fire you as a patient. We'll see you one last time because they are required to. I was explained to something with, quality of care. You have to give them one more because it was technically after the appointment and they've already closed everything out. So they had to see them one more time. So they were like, hey, you have until the next time you come in. And if you don't bring us the frame back or pay for it, then you're going to be fired as a patient. And that's where it ended. And I had planned on, we had actually a recording coming up, and I think I had to push things back. So that was the original story. And then I was going to give you an update. The patient came back, still denied it. So we ended up firing them as a patient. And I was like, that's crazy because not only are you going to have to look for a new provider, whatever like new provider you go to,
they're gonna have notes on you.
there's gonna be notes, and that doctor usually communicates with the previous often,
Yeah.
especially because with pain management, a lot of times you're getting like
It's a very specific
like
and
pain
sensitive
meds
case,
and
yeah.
scheduled medications, scheduled drugs. So they usually ask the last provider why you stopped seeing them, and they contact them and everything. And I'm like, that's going to be on your record now, and they're going to know, hey, you stole from the last practice, so you got fired as a patient. But yeah, that was just a crazy story, and I was like, oh, kind of caught a thief at my work. So thought that
That's
would
crazy.
be a cool story for you guys. You guys,
Stay out of Gotham.
They at my optician's place in California, they had like so many expensive frames in there that everything was locked up. Like you weren't even allowed to like touch anything or pull anything out unless you were like with like one of the like techs that were like helping you pick out a pair or something like that. Or like, all right, they're like, all right, we got your lenses. Now would you like to pick out, like frames? And we always had really good insurance, so we could kind of like pick out anything really. But there was like some really expensive ones, like some like the like Louis Vuitton, like the Coach ones.
Oh yeah,
Dude, some of those frames are so expensive.
yep. Coach. What's that one brand that people love? That
Oakley,
Oakleys are expensive. They're on up there with Costa
or like Ray Ban.
and Maui Jim. Maui Jim's expensive, and
Yeah,
then there's like a
dude,
Jimmy Choo.
yeah, Jimmy
Jimmy
Choo.
Choo's expensive.
Have you looked like what the water looks like when you look through a pair of Maui gym glasses? They're crazy.
Oh yeah, they're
Coasters are the
amazing
same way.
glasses.
Oh, Coasted is the same thing. They're polarized like that. So
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
right
Costa
through the
and
water.
Maui Jim are top of the line for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I've put on like the way they make colors too is just so vibrant. Like it's almost like HD vision for your eyes. It's crazy.
Ray-Bans the
yeah.
same way
So
with their polarized
most of
lenses, and
them
I've
are
always
like
worn Ray-Ban. I used to work on the water every day of my life.
yeah, they
So,
were like I think Costa's minimum you can get is like a 580p lens.
Yep.
And depending on the shading on it, like you have obviously you have black and silver, which are just plain polarized lenses. I think silver, black, and amber, and then you have the green and the blue, which actually have distinct differences for the polarization, specifically for water. Green is for shallow water, blue is for deep water. So, like for my job, I work offshore for the oil and gas industry as a crane operator. My lenses are blue, so I can actually penetrate the surface of the water and see
Yep.
on a sunny day what I'm recovering out of the water before it gets to the surface.
That's crazy.
We also wore blue. Or I wore blue. I chose to. For that same reason. I still have the sunglasses. They're
But I
everyday
mean,
pair.
if you think about it though, if it can give you an extra, say,
Advantage. It's
15
worth
to
it,
30
right?
feet worth of vision beneath the surface of the water in a glare, that it makes all the difference in the world.
Mm-hmm.
My stepdad does a lot of fishing, and he swore by Maui Jim for doing that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Maui Jim, Costa are probably best in the market for fishing. If you're willing to pay name brand prices, right? There are some off brands out there that are just as good, honestly, but they don't last. And they also don't come with the warranties that Maui Jim and Costa will give you. Like
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Their warranties
Yeah.
are amazing too.
if you damage a lens, you damage the frame, and you're having serious issues with it, you literally make a claim with Maui Jim or Costa, send the glasses to them. If they can't fix it, they're going to send you a brand new pair.
Yeah.
No cost to you other than however much it costs for you to ship them to them.
Is it a lifetime warranty too? On like,
Yes.
uh,
As far as I know, and speaking with people that have owned Maui Jim or Costas forever, it's a lifetime warranty. Some of the guys that I work with have probably sent in 6 or 7 different pairs.
yeah, my mom was upset because her favorite pair, like she's had it since like 2012. They stopped making that specific frame that she liked, and like they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll give you a new one for free because of your like warranty." I
Yep.
didn't know if it was like 10 years or however long it was, but she was upset because like the warranty literally outlasted the
The
model that she
glasses.
had.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
which is like crazy to think about. But like it, if like you said, if you can afford it, that's probably the best way to go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they like switch out frames very frequently. Like most frames, at least like normal ophthalmic frames, might have like a 2 year shelf life, and then they'll flip them out for some different frame.
It's crazy how much
Unless
money
it's one that sells like a whole lot. Like Ray-Ban's real good about
like
keeping like
aviators are always in. Yeah.
Like Ray-Ban will wait a little while before they switch theirs out, but like other like common brands, they'll just go through. They'll be like, "Oh, this one's not doing too well," so they'll flip it out and do like a different style.
Yeah, I love Ray-Bans. I love aviators. It's like the only like pair of glasses I really wear. I even have like a really nice pair of their it's like it's you know how like aviators are like wireframe? It's like slightly thicker than wireframe. They're like kind of like a plastic, but they're like a graphite plastic. Like they're really cool. Got some solid stuff. It's crazy how much money you can drop in the eye care world, like for
oh,
frames
absolutely.
and for lenses.
Oh yeah, easily, especially if you're a little bit older and you need that progressive lens. Those progressives are not cheap.
Fortunately, I have not gotten to that point yet. I'm only like on one eye I'm like a 1, and on the other eye I'm like a 1.5. I have a very light prescription.
Yeah, that's the baby one. I've
Yeah.
had PRK or basically LASIK, but I was a -6 when I had mine.
Yeah, like these are the ones that I wear right now.
Yeah, those are good. Those are one of those ones that they keep making and keep in stock.
Yeah, the Fantel is
This is
probably
also
one of
good.
their most common and probably one of their most purchased frames, at least on the men's side. I'm not sure about the women's side. I think they make a women's version of this too, but hands down, best sunglasses I've ever owned.
Yeah, it's like Ray-Ban and their Wayfinders. That's like
Yeah.
their go-to one.
But
Wayfarer?
Wayfarer,
so,
yep, thank you.
yeah,
Those ones I wear.
like
Wayfinder.
Thomas was saying, like how much money, or maybe it was Melon. I didn't quite catch the
I think
name
it
that
was
popped
Melon.
up. The amount of money that one can spend in the eye care world is absolutely ridiculous. I paid, I think it was $120 for a set of just clear safety glasses
Yep.
that were in my prescription.
You can get
Yep.
safety glasses in your prescription? That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. No.
I
So
did not know that.
there's a company, very popular company within the industry, and actually within almost every industry out there that requires you to wear personal protective equipment, PPE, especially for eye care. Is
Kimberly Clark or
no. Wiley X.
oh yeah.
Yeah, probably the best, one of the best. I'm not gonna say the best, but definitely one of the best, probably the best at the end of the day for safety glasses. But you are going to pay out the ass for them.
Yeah, because everybody wants the.
Yeah, those will run you anywhere from like 225 all the way up to 5 or 600 a set, depending on how much stuff you want added to it. Like if you want progressive lenses, with the different coatings and everything on it, easily $400, $500, $600
Yep, that
for
was
one set.
100% my most asked for safety glasses.
Wiley X.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
the years in the business that I've had, it's
Mhm.
anytime somebody was coming in for a safety lens, they'd go, "You got the Wiley X's?" And I'd have to. We had a book we'd pull out and
Like
show
you
them
have to
on.
order
You'd
those.
have to order them, yeah, because we couldn't keep them in stock. They just
Well,
sell as soon as we got them.
it's not just the fact that you can't keep them in stock.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fact that everything, and literally when I say everything has to be done through Wiley X and their proprietors.
Yep.
You
Mhm.
can't make anything in house for them.
Mm-mm.
Is that because they're
It's
such
like-
a unique mold? Because they're like the full shell on the outside.
It's not just that, because I actually had probably one of the cheaper sets. They weren't prescription, but they were Wiley X at the end of the day. The frame I had actually allowed you to interchange the lenses. So I could actually go from shaded lenses to clear lenses depending on the time of the day. And I had both sets of lenses that came with it. I think out of the box, those sell for about $160 to $180 a pair. But you couldn't take it anywhere and get them to work on it, get them to fix it, get them to replace anything. It all had to go back through Wiley X.
Mhm.
Because every shop I went to, they're like, yeah, we don't work on this stuff. We have to send it off, and it's going to go right back to the manufacturer.
But especially with those, but like safety lenses in general, they have like specific lab you have to send to because safety lenses have a different quality standard that they have to be made to.
Yeah, the ANSI rating that they have
Mhm.
to carry. I think it's like ANSI 87 plus or something
is.
like that. Jeez, why do I remember that?
That's good. Hey, if you ever get tired of working on the rigs there, you
Right.
can come sell glasses and shit with me.
I promise you, I don't think selling glasses will ever pay me as much as I make.
That is absolutely fair. I can guarantee you won't as an optician. But yeah, it was really cool. But
That optician lady that was at your wedding, she was really cool. We talked to her for a little bit about eye care stuff, and she knew her shit, dude.
oh, she's an actual doctor.
Yeah, she's like the
Eye doctor,
actual
yeah.
optometrist. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me not say names.
Yeah,
But
tell me
yeah.
not docs your employer. Yeah.
But yeah, she's real good. She's the one, the doctor I started with, and taught me everything. And then I've worked for probably 10 other doctors now. And um, I will say, they know their stuff, most of them. And especially like a lot of time, because there's optometrists and there's ophthalmologists. Ophthalmologists focus more on the like real health of the eye, and they do like surgeries and stuff on the eyes, whereas optometrists are focused more on making sure your vision is clear and like the glasses side. But I will say most of the optometrists that I know, for as much shit as they get, they've been better doctors in my opinion than some of the ophthalmologists I work with. Now I did work with one ophthalmologist, the one that did my surgery. He was absolutely amazing. But some of the other ones that I'm familiar with, not as great.
I actually have to agree with that. So my optometrist office that I go to,
Mhm.
last time I went in, they had someone different in there. Actually, I think this is probably like the fifth or sixth doctor that's been through this office now that I've been there. But I think she was just like literally she was just filling in, and she was an ophthalmologist instead of an actual optometrist.
Mhm.
She was like super heavily focused on what I needed to do to take care of my eyes over the
Mhm.
fact that it's like, hey, I'm literally just here to get my prescription double checked, make sure
Mhm.
there hasn't been any crazy changes because I'm about to spend, serious money on a set of safety glasses.
Mhm.
And, still obviously has more than enough knowledge on how to work the machines and stuff like that and walk through. It's like, yeah, so this is going to be prescription, which I was actually kind of shocked that one of my eyes that had gotten worse the last time I went in and had gotten better again. I'm like, how does that work? I don't understand.
It's rare, but it does happen, which is always amazing when it does.
But you know, she just kept going back to, it's like, yeah, you've got basically like chronic dry eye. You need this. You need to try to treat it with, you know, warm compresses and, you know, take breaks when you can. And I'm just like, okay, I don't think you quite understand the prowess behind my job where I have to stare at a screen or stare out of a window for as much as 12 hours straight.
Yeah.
Like there is no break in there. She goes, yeah, well, you need to do this. Here, you know, I'm going to give you a prescription for this eye drop and this ointment for when it gets really bad, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay.
Yep, 100% ophthalmologist, more focused on health. Honestly, I've worked in a couple ophthalmology practices, and the main difference is, so like in optometry, typically, the tech will do a little bit of the work, and as far as like pre-workup, and then the optometrist is going to do most of the actual exam when you see them.
Right.
Whereas when I worked in ophthalmology, I was doing everything, even the refraction, like doing the 1-2 thing, kind
Yeah.
of dialing your prescription down. And then a lot of the office I worked in, they just do a quick peek, make sure it looked right, or they might, like in the exam room, do like a quick, fast double check. But most of the time, they're not really worried about that aspect for ophthalmology. They're like, hey, I'm worried about your health of your eye, and then, you know, seeing it's like, if you want the prescription, you can have it or not.
Yeah. Fair. Like that's fair enough. Like
Yeah.
my office that I go to, like absolutely never had the techs doing like the refraction tests and stuff like that. That was either done by the ophthalmologist if we had one there, or it was the actual optometrist. Like the techs literally would do your intake, take you back, do the little puff on the eye.
Yep. NCT machine.
Yeah. So they would do the NCT. They would do
Probably your visual acuity is just doing the
yeah,
basic test. And
yeah,
things of
doing
that
that basic test, and then the one where they check the back of the eye.
I hate that one. The one where they
That
check for
scan.
glaucoma. The one where
Yeah.
they sort of really bright, the really, really, really bright light.
Yeah, and then they make
retinal
you
photos.
I
yeah, then
hate
they
that
make
one.
you like follow the white dot around like in
Yeah.
your peripheral and everything like that in each eye. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the visual field. That's the
Oh
worst fucking thing.
god.
That thing
It
sucks.
takes forever to.
Yeah, I'm sitting there with the little clicker and I'm like, I'm not seeing any dots. I'm starting to feel like this is not good. She goes, "Can you not see anything?" And I'm like, "Apparently not if I haven't clicked the button."
That
It said,
reminds me
"Oh,
of
glaucoma."
that reminds me when you go to MEPS and they have you sit in the room where you can like hear yourself think, and you got to listen to like little beeps, and at some point you just start hearing beeps, or you don't hear them, and you're just clicking it to press it.
Oh
That
no,
thing-
oh man, you're bringing up stuff that I have to do every 2 years for my line of work. Like I have to renew a medical certificate that says I'm fit to work offshore, and one of them is obviously a hearing test. Like one office I go to, like basically he'll just start talking really quiet, and he's like, and as long as I can hear him, I can answer him. He says my hearing's good. The other office, they actually put the headset on you, and it's like, all right, raise your hand. It doesn't matter which side. Just raise your hand every time you hear the beep, and they go through the different frequencies. And I'm just like, wait, was that a beep or not? And then of course, it's like one of the worst doctor's office in the world. It's actually an like an urgent care clinic. It's right next to the main road, so all you hear is traffic and horns and everything else. And you're like, I'm trying to do an audio test. Everything just stopped.
It's like a room not ideal at all for that. It's terrible.
No, if you can imagine a room about the size of like a handicap stall, and it's got this huge window that faces the main road.
Alrighty, everybody. Well, I'm gonna call it there for this episode. I thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that social stuff. Follow us, and yeah, make sure you tune into the next episode. Thank you.
Bye.
See y'all next time.
Later.
Thank you, Craig.